One more ban to come, Cignal Ultra. They do get rid of the Troll, and Void and Drow are still up. So the Slaughter will come out now for Cignal Ultra, just preemptively getting ready for whether the Void is going to come. Very intriguing, both teams avoiding it completely. If you did go for the Faceless Void, you don't really have something like an Oracle to be worried about. So it's not too bad of a game if Motivate.Trust did want to take it. And you've got the Grimstroke to combo with as well, so you do have the Inkswell and Time Walk combination, which can be quite nice to have in the laning phase. Mind you, it still would be kind of tough into a Slaughter pickup, but at least you can kind of just Time Walk away. It's not too bad.
Yeah, that's not the worst matchup in the world. I think the one worry is MG.Trust does not have anything that really plays outside that Chrono just yet, so no option for the snap here. Tiny can somewhat play with Avalanche at least, but it's not the most consistent. They go to ET first, so it looks like we might be seeing a Monstrous ET coming out here on the off lane. Could make an interesting set of team fight. There's still room for the Void, and I'd say with an ET, you might expect the Void coming out here. It's a pretty sick combo with a Stomp. With the Earth Split, it's pretty darn nice for the Titan. So that is one way MG.Trust can build around that now. They're starting to shape up their team fight. Cignal Ultra, I mean, they had Slardar. It was going to be the PA. Really straightforward. Works well with the Ogre Magi. They've got that burst on hand, and MG.Trust
Wow.
actually goes with a Morph instead. Okay.
Okay. Alright, I mean, definitely not something I was expecting to see coming out from Motivate.Trust, but they take it. In terms of, morphing potential, you haven't really got the best targets to morph into. I suppose the Ogre Magi is kind of nice because you can Bloodlust yourself. We've seen morphs go into the Rubik a bit, just take the Fade Bolt and Lift. That can be kind of useful as well. Apart from that, though, I don't really see much else that really makes much use with the morph. I guess it is still going to be a nice pickup into the Slaughter in terms of laning phase, though, if you do run the safe lane morph. It won't really mind the Slaughter too much on the laning stage. That's kind of nice here for Motivate.Trust. And they do also have the option to run the morph in the mid lane, if they so wish. So it is a bit of a flex pick here for Motivate.Trust. And
Yeah.
this last pick from them could just be anything, really. Could be another mid pickup, could be another safe lane core. Even Cignal Ultra believing that they're still looking for an off lane here for Masaros.
Yeah, I love it. Just a lot of respect for a Master Race. I mean, there is still the potential for, say, a mid-tiny and Morphling safe with something else coming out here for Master Race. So I can understand why they're being a bit cautious. But again, as you mentioned, last pick is going to be very flexible for MG.Trust. They do not have the overall last pick though, so Cignal Ultra is going to be able to counteract that. The one thing here, you mentioned Morphling combos. I think an Ags pickup for the Morphling's not too bad. We've seen that when you have the ET on your side, you rush the Ags Morphling, you get a free BKB without consuming a slot, and you're going to have the utility of the Ags, the stat of the Ags. So that's what we've seen some Morph players opt to do when they have the ET on their side, and we'll just have to see if that's what Jackie wants to do. And what exactly kind of pace they want to play. Like there is some form of pace here with an ET, Grimstroke, Tiny, but they need to hammer in this last pick to tell them, all right, do we want to go really fast with the ET team fight, or do you want to take it slow, build around our Morphling here? Signal for their part, it's Slaughter PA with an Ogre. You're going to look at the same timings, Battle Fury Desolator for the most part, start bursting people down. We've seen a lot of that, and it should be pretty well known. But MG.Trust, they've got some variability in how fast or how slow they want to play this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Motivate.Trust, final pickup now. 8 seconds reserve time left to make the decision. Alright, and they do go for a Masteros hero. So the Centaur in the off lane should mean the mid-tiny comes out for Motivate. You'd imagine for Fearless, and that'll round off the draft here. Some decent kind of lane combinations. You've got the Morph Grimstroke, so you've got the Waveform Inkswell if you want to do that. You've got the Stomp from the Titan into the Stomp of the Centaur, which is kind of a nice setup there as well. And of course, Fearless and the Tiny can just roam around the map once you get some power runes and just try to make plays across the map. Cignal Ultra, though, they are still lacking either a mid lane pickup or an off lane for themselves. So you wouldn't really mind seeing the Slaughter mid here if it is going to be the Tiny mid. Does seem like a decent kind of lane to go into for Cignal. This last pickup will tell us how they're going to lane everything.
Yeah.
And by the way, I do have confirmation, John, that the tiebreaker is indeed going to be Boom versus Among Us for sure. So there is going to be a best of one straight after this between Boom and Among Us to decide who gets the 4th place slot and who gets the 5th place slot. Obviously, one of them going to the upper bracket, the other one going to the lower bracket, straight after this series.
Yeah, gonna be another one to watch out for. Should be an exciting one, actually. Those two teams have been fairly close, but Cignal, they go to DP. All right, so they've got some push now available on hand. They've got the DP versus the Tiny on the mid lanes, it looks like. Yeah, JMC gonna be on the DP, of course. We're gonna see Fearless on his Tiny, so should be something the DP can handle fairly well, but the Tiny should be able to clear those waves out at a nice pace as well. Key thing for Cignal Ultra, getting a bot online, getting Vance level 6, then you can start melting people down. You've got this beautiful combination with this Slaughter. You know, it's Slaughter versus Centaur in those off lanes, specific off lanes. They've kind of got the same combos. This time around, though, Cignal does have the Rubik Slaughter, so the lift into Slitherine Crush with a follow-up on the Bash. It's going to be really nice for Van if they choose to play aggressive. So there's some early potential here from Cignal to play fast. MG.Trust, you've got to wait for Jackie to build up. But saying that, we've seen Jackie win some pretty hard games off his back. He just finds the farm. MG.Trust, absolutely trust their pos 1 and make the space out. So I think as long as Jackie's finding farm here for MG.Trust, they're not going to feel too bad. And Cignal Ultra should be aware of that. They should always keep eyes out on Jackie and contest this farm as much as possible.
I don't like that DP pick into the Morphling, though. If I'm honest with you, John, because you just morph into the DP and take Spirit Siphon. It's, I mean, apart from that, I feel like the draft's okay from Cignal Ultra. I really don't like the fact that the DP is into the morph. That's the one thing I'm not enjoying here from Cignal Ultra's draft at all.
Yeah, it's the interaction with Spirit Siphon is definitely a bit off, but I think for Cignal, it's that they needed push. They need a way to melt these towers. DP gives them a steady way to at least clear out the map a bit fast, so it's very important for Cignal here to play with that first Exo to melt these towers. We've seen a lot of teams try to do that. Not many have been successful, but if you do find success with it, you take these first tier 1s, you shrink the map down for Jackie to farm in. He's going to be forced to farm in that opposing jungle, and if Cignal understand that, they can abuse it. And they can keep track of Jackie and kind of punish him while he's slow. Morphling does take quite some time to build up, and you've got the solid set of stuns on Cignal Ultra side. You've got the silence from the DP. If you do find your angle, it should be relatively easy to keep that Morphling down here if it goes off on a bad start.
Yeah. See what they get done here up against Jackie. We've seen this man many a time come back from bad starts in this Morphling, so see what they can get done here on Cignal Ultra in terms of slowing this man down. Hell, they may even run a tri lane to get things started. Wouldn't really blame them for it either. Gotta be a little bit careful not to leave a bat down at the bot lane as the PA too long. Just by himself. Can be a little bit dangerous. Looks like it is going to be a 2 for 2 in those bounties. Nothing too special to start things off.
They're already swapping lanes here to MG.Trust. Jackie's working his way bot. Masaros is working his way top. They kind of expected that movement out. And Cignal, we're going to have to find out if they're going to respond in kind and play musical lanes here.
You might want to if you're Cignal Ultra. Could be a bit of a tough matchup here for a bat on the PA, as Jackie really shouldn't struggle too much, but they are indeed bringing 2 supports down to the bot lane, so they are going to try and get the tri lane going up against Jackie to make sure he does not have a good start in this game. In fact, you already see them just chasing down Boom Bell, but with the Astral Spirit movement buff, he is going to be fine to just run away. But Jackie probably just needs to leave the lane, and it looks like he already has. He does TP up to the top lane. Cignal Ultra, they did commit TPs to go down to the bot lane. So Jackie is going to be fine here. There won't be any more rotations coming unless they're going to run their way up. In which case, Jackie could just TP again.
Yeah, it's it's a bit of a back and forth. I think overall MG.Trust is going to be happy. You can see Eris walking up top to split themselves up into dual lanes. So there's not going to be a tri lane committal anymore, which means Jackie should be off to a fairly smooth start to farm up. Van on his slaughter is 1 level up though. So there is that. Maybe you can go for a lift play into a Bash of the Deep plus a Slitherine Crush. But it does feel like that might be a bit tricky to pull off now. They could still give it a try though if they wanted to.
Well, they're going to try on Boom Belt, and that's probably the target that's going to be much easier to get, and they do get it. Eris is going to be able to pick it up, and he starts with the voice lines already. That voice line is going to get real annoying soon, John. They've been going on all day with this. So, yeah, they'll get a first blood. Very, very nice pick up there for Eris. He will even get a nice large camp pull away. Jack, you're going to have to try and contest this now. Definitely not going to be a very fun time for him.
And we see Eris do this every single time. He snipes for his blood, he gets the pull off, he stabilizes the lane for Cignal, and Cignal can kind of play around that. Now, there is still some pretty decent farm for Jackie here though. Like he's just trailing behind about just slightly. You're still finding that steady build up on your morph, but we'll see what else these can supports do, you know. Boom Belt's off to a slower start, and he needs levels on the ET to really maximize that. While there is some downtime though, we should probably look at mid for a bit. You've got Fearless on that Tiny, up against James, he's DP, and it's been rather back and forth for both sides. You know, you're still finding steady farm on Fearless, you're finding steady farm on JMC. No real advantage yet from either side. Gonna be important to kind of deny that power rune from Fearless here though. He already has his bottle, so he's gonna look to secure the rune soon as he's running out of charges. JMC just buys out his bottle. It's being shipped out now. But you most definitely want your supports to be ready to go, and Eris is the kind of support to not let that go freely.
Rushing onto Boombell again. Boombell copying a lot of damage, trying to fight back, but Van does have the bash out. Jackie is going to go for a bit of a chase, but decides better of it. He'll leave Eris and the Slaughter quite low in terms of HP. Van will salve up, but Boombell does indeed die. However, down at bot lane, they do kill off a bat. Masaros does die for it, but they also get Grims. So that's pretty good news for Motivate.Trust. They do find that POS 1 PA, and I imagine they're going to be pretty happy about that.
Yeah, I mean, they're not losing their Morphling up top. They're finding the kills down bot. This is going to ensure Bot's going to struggle a bit into his build-up. He is going for that traditional PA build, Power Treads into Battle of Furies, the name of the game here for a bot. And having deaths like that is just going to slow that down. Now, they do manage to secure that Arcane Rune, but James, he's not safe.
No, he's not. Q going to go for the Ink Swell and does connect, and Fearless is going to have the Tree Toss. And it's going to do enough damage to kill him off. I'm kind of shocked as well, like the DP versus Tiny matchup in that mid lane should be heavily DP favored, but Fearless, not only did he manage to come out on top of the CS board, but even that kill just then is going to put him well and truly ahead of our Death Prophet. Now, Jamesy, he's going to have some catching up to do.
Yeah, it's been a slower start for the DP, and Jamesy is key to the draft of Cignal. He needs to hit his 6 fast. He needs to apply pressure in those towers, as we talked about. If you start falling behind in DP, it's very hard to play catch-up. You do not want that to happen when you're sharing farm with a PA. So, gotta see Jamesy recover here, maybe see some emphasis on those supports. But they really have left him alone as their other lanes aren't going any too well.
Oh, I love the rotation out from Fearless, just going for a nice, easy kill down to the bot lane onto Grims. They don't really get a bat, though, who is farming quite nicely now on that PA, but this is what you want to see out of a mid-tiny. Just quick rotations out for nice, easy kills. Doesn't make his way back into the mid lane to keep his XP and farm up. Mind you, as he's been away from the lane, Jamesy has caught up in terms of levels now, so he is the same level as Fearless on that Tiny, but looks like Fearless is not going to mind too much. He'll go for another Avalanche Toss, but the Spirit Siphons are going to make it so they can't really commit for the kill. So Jamesy is going to be able to heal up pretty much all the way, and he is going to be fine for another day.
Yeah, it's a pretty decent stall out from Jamesy. Now, he is going to hit his 6 soon, but we have seen DPs skip that extra sometimes, but Jamesy in this case does go for it, so he might be able to make a play.
Nasaros down at the bot lane does go down. A bat will be able to pick it up. Meanwhile, Jackie also dying. Eris able to pick up that kill. Yeah, they'll get away with it. They do get the Morphling pickup as well as the offlane Centaur. And now, Grimm's actually end up dying down to the bot lane, but now Q's going to be in a spot of danger. Abad going to try and go after him, but can't quite finish the job. Does go into the blur, and it looks like he was thinking about going back after Q. Looks like he is not able to, though, as Q has salved up. It's going to be a 5-5 now. 1k net worth lead is there for Cignal Ultra.
Yeah, and with those sets of events, I think Cignal Ultra is going to be a bit happier. They're starting to find some early kills on a bot, and that's going to pay off in a pretty big way. Now, they have kind of stalled out the progression on the push. Like, there's some good damage mid, but it's not really cleaned up yet for JMC. He does make use of that first EXO in a pretty decent way. So you are applying that pressure we're looking for. They just need to actually finish it up. And if they do clean it up in the next extra system, I think Cignal are hitting their right beats here in the game. They're meeting their spikes as you'd expect.
All right. Things looking pretty decent for Cignal. Everyone just getting the farm they need. Slowing down Jackie just enough to feel confident. Van now going to sprint towards Jackie, does get the bash, but the waveform is going to be out and he's going to be okay to just get out of there. But Masaros down to the bot lane does die once again to a bat. A nice rotation out from James to help out with that one, but they do once again kill off the Centaur, but Q ends up sniping Grims on the Ogre with that Stroke of Fate. So a nice counter kill out, but it's still a very positive trade out for Cignal Ultra.
Definitely is. They're just slowing down Masaros. His timings into his own items are going to slow down. It's not going to be as durable as you'd expect. You've even got a bot walking down mid to soak the lane very early on. Not what you're used to seeing from PA, but going to go for something. Yeah,
he's going to try onto Boom Bell. Lift up. Should be a nice easy kill, but Boom Bell trying for the stomp. Won't be able to get away with it. Jamesy going to be able to pick up the kill on the Death Prophet. Just another one. For Signals, they might just look at the mid tower now. I mean, they've got that exorcism back up and available.
Yeah, and they could easily melt the tower. You can see MG.Trust, they understand that timing. They're just dragging their supports mid along with Fearless. They do not want to give this tower out. A bit of a waste of time, though, as Jamesy's just walking home. So they're not really going to get anything done. They're going to have to walk their way back top. Jackie's been struggling solo, and this is the right move from Cignal. They're just contesting.
Does spot out Eris before he makes it up that staircase. Now going for the stun with the Slanna morph. Agi morphing, got to be very cautious there, Jackie. Eris did not turn around for a hit though, he'll be fine. Meanwhile, bot, or rather top, Abad is getting low to Fearless, but now they have the silence out. Inkswell is also there, and Van is going to drop. Q, the one that does pick up the kill on the Grimstroke, as Jackie almost ended up killing off the Rubik, but didn't quite have enough before the TP came out. And in the meantime, while all that was happening, Jamesy did pop the ulti and does take the mid-tier 1 tower.
Yeah, and they also force out the deny in the top tower here, so Cignal has a lot of room to start roaming around. The next play has to be wards coming out from Eris. They kind of made this mistake in their past series, where they did not keep track of that farm coming in through the jungle. They need to get some offensive wards out. They need to ensure Jackie isn't allowed to do this. He's just farming up some big stacks. He's getting some recovery farm on the Morphling. It's been a slow start for Jackie. You're still very happy where you are on a bot, but we always mention this for Jackie. He just kind of disappears for 10, 15 minutes. When he comes back, he's suddenly the biggest hero in the map, and if you're Cignal, you do not want to have to deal with a very big Morphling in this game.
No, you don't. And Jackie's just going to have to be relegated to the jungle. Abat really taking over in terms of net worth, just 1k ahead of that Morphling at the moment. As bot lane, Masaros is going to be focused on again, but he will survive through the initial outburst, and now they will chase down Eris. Nice toss in from Fearless into the hoof stomp, and they do get the kill. It looks like they are going to be here to try and set up on that bot tier 1 tower now. They are just so far behind in objectives. They do need to try and get that done.
Yeah, they're just going to go ahead and at least find one tower. This is not the most important, but we know what happens once MG.Trust finds this. This is where Jackie will end up playing in this forward jungle, and Cignal, they're going in to defend.
Now going to give it a shot. No exorcism up, but they're going to rush in with Van, getting the stun off on to the older Titan. That's one gone, and now Masros dropping very low, does also drop. Eris gets a hoof stomp off onto Jackie. He'll waveform out of there, but a bat is on his tail with the blink strike. Siphons out from Jackie, trying to run. He will not be good. He will die. The bat picks up another kill on the PA. Looks like they will pop the exorcism now on the DP, and they'll get started on the bottom tier 1 tower.
Just smooth rotations from Cignal. Win a fight, go into a push. They're starting to lock in this map. MG.Trust do not get to find that bot tier 1. They will go for a defense of their own though, but...
Masros. That's a lot of damage he's taking through that exorcism. He's still rushing forward for a hoof stomp. Now the stampede, but Van's caught him out. But no, they're just going to turn back onto the Slaughter, and they will get the kill. Grims tries the TP out and does make it. They do get punished, however, for going for that bottom tier 1. And I think that's what they've got to be very careful about, Cignal Ultra, is not giving away kills like that. Especially with heroes like the DP that do tend to drop off quite quickly.
Yeah, they've got to temper back the aggression. They didn't have their entire lineup there for that push, so it was really easy for MG.Trust to actually go punish. And now MG.Trust, knowing Exorcism's down, they're going to line up for that tier 1 again. They just want this tower gone to open up some jungle farm for Jackie, and he's going to get it. There's just no option anymore for Cignal to defend, so now Jackie going to have his room to farm, and he's bounced back really well. He's only about 600 gold behind a bot. A bot, however, is going to get that Battle Fury soon. So our PA's farm should jump up a little bit more, but you have to be a bit worried here for Cignal.
Definitely do. Still mid lane. Jamesy, these are the plays I was worried about from him. Just diving in by himself. He doesn't quite get the kill onto Fearless, and now he's in a spot of danger. He's going to try and turn back around with another 2 Spirit Siphons out. Fearless is dropping quite low, and he does not go down. The Crib Swarm was not enough. Masros around the area, not going to be able to close the gap there. He does not have the Stampede, and Jamesy, he does manage to get himself out. So, all in all, nothing really bad happens for Cignal. They did have to rotate a couple supports in, but that's not too big of a deal for them. They will still maintain this very slight net worth lead of just about 1k.
Yeah, it's an alright time for them. I think this is just space to get a bot safely farming to the Battle Fury. Again, he's almost got it up, so you can expect the PA's farm to start to skyrocket. Real big power spike for a bot, of course, is that Desolator timing. So we're still going to have to wait for that one afterwards. But they are finding themselves a path here towards getting that farm up. They are sacrificing their other cores, though. You are seeing Jamesy and Van lag behind in comparison for this kind of movement, so this investment will have to pay off. And I think MG.Trust are fine with that. Their farm distribution's closer, they're hunting.
Well, Bat does go down. Fearless is able to pick up the kill. That's a pretty important pickup to get there for Fearless. Well, everyone else just kind of sitting back now as the net worth lead does switch the way of Motivate.Trust. How's Jackie going? Just slowly but surely working towards that Manta. He's really caught up quite nicely. He's only about 100 gold behind the PA now, which is pretty bad news considering you do have Battle Fury PA up.
Yeah. It's just set to get worse as Jackie gets the space out in that bot jungle. This is the exact same movement we've seen from MG.Trust time and time and again. We don't even see any pieces of vision here from Cignal, so MG.Trust is going to be allowed to do this. They've got to be a bit cautious on Cignal's end. We're allowing this free farm. The Battle Fury is up now for a bot, so he can start to even out his net worth deficit. But again, you're sacrificing your other cores here. You talked about the timing of the DP. Jamesy still is trying to save up for his Yules. It's just such a slow game for Jamesy, even after finding those early towers. And if he doesn't find his item spike soon, then it's going to be hard for him to really maintain his presence in the middle of these engagements. And that's just one less here for MG.Trust to actually worry about.
Absolutely. What's the plan here from Cignal? They've gone very quiet. Looks like they're okay to just protect a Bats PA. Just make sure he's happy. That he certainly will be. It's like Fearless and Q gonna stick around with each other as well. Grim's gonna run into them, but doesn't really want a bar of him right now. They are just continuing to keep a Bat safe. That's all he wants.
Yeah, I do have to say I'm liking this build-up here for Fearless. So he's got his Blink, he's going for the E-Blade, and that allows him more burst, but it also allows him to see something we've seen PA struggle with, the Ghost Scepter, just the Ghost State, right? You can't get your damage out if you can't hit them, and once you get maybe an additional Ghost Scepter into supports, and maybe a Heaven's Halberd out from your center down the line, PAs tend to struggle as well. There needs to be a switch out for a bot, maybe down the line to opt for a BKB, if not, maybe a Lotus Orb in someone, or just something to get some dispels on to at least remove the E-Blade. But then you also worry about disarms down the line. So a bot's got to be aware of this back and forth in terms of item spikes that can come out for MG.Trust. It can be a bit awkward for the PA in the middle of these fights. You do have a lot of burst damage now, even without the Desolator. I think they might have to consider just jumping supports with Van, finding a quick pick off with Corrosive Haze, and then going back to farming. I think they've got to maximize or at least find something before these key items come out for MG.Trust.
I do agree. We've seen so many teams kind of do this where they don't really pay attention to what Jackie's doing either. Sometimes you've just got to have confidence in your own position one to be able to carry in the later stages of the game, but it's just been a common trend, right? Like Jackie just disappears for a while, comes back out of the jungle, suddenly, you know, he has 3 or 4 core items and he tends to just start outplaying people quite heavily. Just, you know, one of the big reasons why Motivate.Trust is at the top of the groups again. You know, coming from BTS Pro Series to now, seemingly not really dropping their form at all. Well, we'll go and have the go-ahead again, but I do think Cignal either need to be taking objectives or dealing with Jackie. I don't think leaving this Morphling alone is a very good idea at all.
No, it's really not. And we talked about Jamesy having cleared these towers. They haven't really touched the tier 2, which is another piece of concern here. You do have the Eul's up in Jamesy, which is fantastic, but it's not going to be enough to really, for him to apply his presence alone. He needs his team behind him, and they need to maybe shove out a wave, look at top or mid tier 2, although mid's a bit harder. Maybe the top tier 2 is a bit more accessible down the line. But look at MG.Trust. They just feel confident. They're running around his bot jungle. No wards to stop them. Nothing to really scout out this vision. They get to play greedy. All of them are farming. Like, literally every single core of MG.Trust is just farming efficiently across the entire map. Different jungles for each hero, and it's just fine. I think Cignal, they smoke up now, but this is blind. They just don't know where MG.Trust is.
No, they don't.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
They do go into the dire jungle, but they are not there. MG.Trust is farming the opposite side of the map, so they're going to try for the Roshan play. I do like this. At least they are going to get some kind of objective for their time. It is in excess used for this, but they had to get something, and they will smoke up straight off the bat. A bat's going to run into a DD rune as well. They do give the bottle away, so he will have some nice DD there to back him up in the team fight that is upcoming. And Cignal, they are going to try and force one ASAP. Motivate, they're also hanging around. They don't seem too afraid of this. In fact, it's Cignal Ultra that do back off into the dire triangle, and well, excuse me, not the triangle, but rather just the jungle in general, and they are going to maybe start working towards that top tier 2 tower. But again, they don't have the exorcism up for another minute and a half or so. And while they're in there, MG.Trust are going to go ahead and take a free tier 1 mid tower.
Yeah, it's a good objective for them to take, so they're now extra safe in that jungle, and they smoke up. So they can circle around here. They've got one ward actually watching that movement earlier. They have got an idea here.
Well, Van's been run into. Fearless gonna go with the avalanche toss. Van still alive, but the Inkswell is gonna be followed up, and they do get the kill into Masaros, who gets the hoof stomp off. They'll also kill off Eris. And it looks like they're going for more now. Abat has been caught out. He does have a DD rune. It just doesn't seem to matter. However, Jackie just keeps hitting away. He'll get the Aegis. The toss back onto Jamesy. He's going to get blown up. And now Abat is a sitting duck all on his lonesome. He's going to blink up, but Masaros gets a double hoof stomp off. And now Grims is also caught. He's going to die, and it's a full team wipe. And Boombell will start giving it back to them straight away. You love to see it.
Oh man, Cignal, they're just a bit too. Their movement there was the right idea, but in the wrong side of the map, and completely wrong side. MG.Trust played that right. They did not break off as soon as the Roche was there. They just stayed clumped up on that ramp. They were very safe. They figure after they take the mid-tier 1 with no defense, they smoke up, they circle around. Their ward on this far side of the jungle actually gave some value because they spotted out there was creeps being taken, and they get so much more. Like, that was the Roche, first Roche of the game for Cignal, not amounting to much. They lose a mid-tier 1, they lose a top mid 1, a top tier 1, and Cignal now, they're starting to lag behind. 7k behind now. Their Morphling's really taking over here, and the DP strat is just falling a bit flat. Cignal, they need to group up better, find some objectives, and if they're not feeling confident now, maybe wait for the BKB on a bot first, but you're just giving more time to farm here in Cignal.
You are. Abat, he's trying. He's working towards that BKB up next. Definitely necessary, but I mean, the last team fight we saw, it wasn't even spells that were taking down Abat. Jackie literally just hit him the whole time. He did not care to use adaptive on him at all. Abat was just getting hit by this Morphling and eventually getting taken out. I suppose the BKB is going to be quite useful once you have the shotgun up, which is coming in any second now for Jackie. He has the gold for it. And you've almost got the double shotgun as Fearless almost has his up. Very dangerous times now for Cignal. They are going to try and force a tier 2 top tower, but Motivate, they know how much stronger they are. They want to force a team fight. So they'll jump in with the Inkswell straight onto Abat, and Abat's gone. Now the Avalanche toss out on Jamesy. He will survive through it, but it is still looking pretty bad as the Stampede is popped. Masaros will chase. Jamesy just trying to run away. And this is all without Jackie, mind you. He is still farming the bot lane. Masaros is going to lead his team in, gets another hoof stomp off onto Eris this time, and Eris is going to get stomped and is going to be left there to just have a quick nap before he does die to Q, while the rest of the team is chasing for more, but Eris is not dead yet. They probably should have finished him, and they don't. Eris is going to run. Meanwhile, in the backlines, it looks like they have caught out Grims. He's going to die. Eris at least does TP out. So at least you get the Rubik out of there. Still a very bad team fight, though, for Cignal Ultra.
No, it's really not clean. They find a tier 2 in the end, so it's a tier 2 for tier 2 trade. In that sense, you're happy, but a lot of things are coming online here for MG.Trust. Like the E-Blade's already up on your Morphling, the E-Blade's also up on Fearless, as you mentioned, but the Ags is coming out next for Jackie. And so he's going to have the option to turn into Boombell to get that free BKB on himself. And then what are you going to do? You're not going to have any sort of control for that Morphling. He's just going to dominate these fights further, and Cignal, something needs to come out here. A bot's BKB doesn't feel like it's going to be enough. They need, you know, it's just so hard. Like, they've got this Blink and Van. They need to be the aggressors with a Blink. I've been talking about it for a while, but they need to maximize that Corrosive Haze. Just find a pick-off. Even on the support, just get that pick-off, pull back, farm up, rinse and repeat. And that is probably one of the safest ways for Cignal to bounce back in without risking too much against the spike from MG.
And Jackie, he'll just get started on the tier 2 top tower now. No real contest for him. With a 10k net worth lead on Motivate, he's feeling very confident. Down towards that bot lane, Jackie, he'll take the wave while the rest of his team are going to get a nice avalanche toss with the shotgun. Just the Ethereal Blade out from Fearless, and now Jackie's there with the follow-up. You saw how much damage it did just by Fearless using his Ethereal Blade. He didn't even
Oh, yeah.
combo the avalanche toss with it.
Nope. It's really starting to melt them through, and just so much damage now on MG.Trust now. There are ways for the DP to stall. The ults and the healing is pretty nice for your DP at least, but it's just not enough. And as long as you allow MG.Trust to be the aggressors, there's no winning here. Cignal needs to, again, get the numbers advantage themselves, playing passively with a Slardar Blink Fast, with a PA that can delete heroes, and just opting for the farming game. I mean, there's an opportunity to bounce back, of course. Like, say you get the Divine with the BKB and you just get all the crits in the backline. Then yeah, you can definitely bounce back in as a PA, and we've seen that before in different games. But it's such a massive risk. I think you're running a huge risk, especially when you're playing against a core like a Morphling. It's got very stable scaling up into that late game, and you are just making this game more and more about a bat if you are the side of Cignal. MG.Trust, they can just take their time. They're not in a hurry anymore. They've taken out 2 tier 2s. Only the mid tier 2 remains. We're going to find out when Roche responds in about a minute, less than a minute, and then we'll see when it does come up, but that could just be the next safe objective for MG.Trust to opt for, and there's the Ags and Jackie, so you can get a free BKB by turning into Boombell.
Not even that as well. Like, the BKB is going to be great, but even the other targets, like the PA, just getting that constant reset on all your skills with PA could be quite nice for Jackie this game. Obviously, most of the time it's just going to be Boombell though for the free BKB, but a lot of fun interactions here for Jackie with that Aghanim Scepter up. They are going to just move into that mid-tier 2 now. There's just nothing to stop them. It's a 13k net worth lead here for MG.Trust. Standard stuff. In fact, Jackie will morph into the Centaur. I believe he does get the retaliate damage onto the tower, if it does hit him with that, but they do jump in and back. Gonna try and burst him down. Jackie is very low. He's gonna survive for now though. He will strength morph and walk away, and Grims has already died. Now back into the team fight. Van is low. Masaros does not want to jump in. He's happy with the way it's gone, or maybe not. The stomp is there, but are they gonna go for it? Jackie is gonna waveform forward and does kill him off. No, Masaros wants to go in, does force a BKB out of Jamesy, and now it's time to retreat. They even pop the Exorcism, and Jackie, he actually does die to Jamesy. Alright, they do turn it around. Fearless? No, Avalanche Toss is there onto a bat. He just melts to the magic damage. Jamesy is still trying to fight, does get Q, is now chasing down Boombell. Meanwhile, Fearless will just get Eris on the Rubik. Jamesy, he's alone right now. He almost kills off Boombell, but not quite there. Into the Tiny. They'll try to go after Fearless instead, and he is a better target. It looks like Fearless, he's going to try for the TP play out. He is going to make it, but now Boombell, he's stuck around to try and help. It is going to cost him. And overall, not really too bad of a team fight for Cignal Ultra. They do successfully hold their high ground, and it is going to end up being a 4-for-4 where they do get majority of the gold back going their way. So, yeah, I'd still call that somewhat of a win here for this Radiant side.
You're definitely happy you found a big kill on Jackie. He did manage to kill off a lot of those heroes, being a bit too confident. And that is one of the shortcomings here for MG.Trust. Like, you don't really have defensive items here on Jackie, and you don't have any saving support, so there's no Oracle to play with here. I don't believe we have any mechs on hand yet as well to heal everyone up. So when you're low as the Morphling. That's something you're going to have to deal with. And it's a risky spot for Jackie, but they're not going to be dissuaded by this. Another double damage for Cignal this time around, but they aren't really able to give it out to their PA, so a bit unfortunate. Still, they're in a good spot now. They take back their triangle. They're finding steady farm. You're seeing the build up here for a bot into the Ags, into the Divine, but MG.Trust, they're smoked up.
Yeah, no reason for them not to. Fearless goes on the Rubik. Masaros, a great hoof stop with the Ink Sword. Now the blow up is coming. A bat, he's going to BKB and survive. Nobody dead but Eris. MG.Trust, they're looking for a way back in. Silence is out on Van. Are they going to dive the high ground? Yeah, they are. Fearless, he'll go for the toss back onto Van. They will get the Slaughter kill as well. Nice, solid plays here from MG.Trust. They don't overextend. They do back off a bit. They're going to take the much smarter approach to going high ground, I think. Just the slow way.
just toss out Masteros in front. He cops the wave. It slowly chips away, and you just got nothing to lose here. There is the Exorcism backup though, but you might have to be fighting into that. But MG.Trust still have this 13k lead. They're still feeling good. The Roche is up. That would be the safer play, and considering how the last fight went, that might be what they opt for next. It is a Roche with cheese, second Roche of the game. So that sustain is going to be very important, and it looks like they might just get that done after perhaps taking control of this triangle.
They're waiting. Fearless with that Ethereal Blade Avalanche Toss knows he can blow pretty much anyone up. Astral Spirit to scout out. They are smoking the long way around. Fearless gonna break Eris's smoke, and now they should know. The Cignal, they might try to sneak this Roshan. But Masteros, he has broken all the smokes. He's kind of surprised right now. What are all these people doing here? They're going to try and jump onto Q. The Soulbind is out through the BKBs. Now the Stampede is there, but Q is already dead. They're going to try and fight this one, Cignal, but their BKBs are wearing pretty thin. Jackie, he'll get started onto Jamesy. Meanwhile, Fearless dealing with the bat on the PA. You've lost your DP. Fearless is getting low, however. They do get one, but Jackie comes in now with a big stomp out. Boombell setting up. There goes the bat. Van's trying to fight back. He really probably can't right now, though. Not into Masteros, not into Jackie. They will get the kill. 3 for 1. It's like, do you want the Roshan, or would you rather try for high ground? Looks like they might just opt for the Roshan here for MG.Trust.
It's the safer play right now. I mean, they've got a window where they can go high ground. Respawns are fairly short, though. So I think they're just going to look for, again, the safer play. You are seeing Jackie actually maybe opt to do some chip damage, and yeah, he's just going to cut through the wave. Keep that wave shoved in and keep threatening. No, he's actually just going full high ground. All right.
Yeah, screw it. I mean, they don't have buyback. I thought the waves would be a little bit too pushed out for him to try for this, but it looks like he disagrees, and he is right in disagreeing. Onto the rats. Going to be a very easy one for Jackie. He has plenty of damage. I suppose now they can either go for a second or they can go back for that Roshan, but it looks like they are going to go for the second. They believe they have time for this. It'll just be a tier 3 tower. Now, perhaps, is the time to go force a Roshan play.
Yeah, it's and they take 1 Rax. Very, very greedy play, but pays off because they can't respond. And if they do secure this rush, it can give them a huge advantage for the next push. Now, there are some words here from Cignal. They're going to be able to spot that movement out, so they can at least contest it. They will have EXO up in a short time as well, and they do smoke up.
Not going to be fast enough, but they counter smoke now. Boombell going to have his one broken. Still, he's going to be alright on the Titan so far, but they are slowly jumping in. In fact, the bat now does commit all the way, but Masteros does go in for the hoof stomp. Now your Astral Spirit is out from Jackie. He wants that free BKB. In fact, he'll go after Jamesy. No, make that Grims. He will go down. Masteros does clean up the kill. Buybacks are flying out. Jamesy, he's going to pop his BKB, but Jackie is just going to go after Van instead. With the right clicks out, he does kill another one. Now Masteros, very low, does end up dying, but he gets Stampede off in time. Still Jackie, he was Agimorphing. Jackie misclicking there. Does go down to Jamesy, and now they can clean up a bat. He's going to go in onto Fearless. Fearless is very low in terms of HP and probably will die. Jackie's brought back. Can he fight? Doesn't get much damage onto the DP. Oh, a bat, he jumps in, but the Avalanche Toss is going to kill him off. Now a 3-man stomp out with the Earth Spitter from Boombell. That's going to be a lot of damage coming in. Jackie with the cleanup now. James, he's trying to survive. He cannot. It'll be a triple kill out for Jackie. A massive setup there from Boombell. And with that, they will go for the Roshan.
Oh, it's so costly for Cignal. They managed to catch Jackie off guard, you know, get the chain stun off, get the control. The lift lasts so long. I don't think Jackie expected that to really keep him up there for that long, but it pays off in the end. The buyback from MG.Trust to secure the Roche, so Jackie's going to have a second life anyway, and they can look at the high ground again. And there's still some potency from Cignal's lineup despite this deficit, but they are throwing their bodies up front way too often, and now they're going to have to deal with a high ground. MG.Trust are ready to go here. They've got the damage. The tier 3 down mid is gone. Tier 3 bot is still there, but it's not going to be standing for too long once they set their eyes down, and still no buybacks up. They're going to have to wait these 20 seconds, 20 painful seconds as Jackie chips away.
He's going for the third as well. He'll let the Mantra Illusions take care of the mid-racks. Glyph is going to be forced. With the Aegis and Cheese, he is probably feeling very confident to just force a team fight. They've got to fight this one out, Cignal. They don't really have a choice. They will go in with the lift of Masteros is there. Straight into the back lines, onto Eris, and now the shotgun is out. They have killed off the Ruby. No buyback. So they don't want to force too much more, but MG.Trust, they know they can go in for another Rax. How do you even fight back as Fearless is going to go in, forcing the BKB up now on Jamesy. They'll force Staff away. Jackie threatening to fight back. There's your Earth Splitter out onto the Slanner. Jackie standing his ground will take down the Slanner. Bad. He will die. He'll buy back, but they're on to Jamesy. He's falling rather low. He'll try to Essence Ring up. Masteros, he's now the one falling low and will go down. Nice pick up there for Cignal. Jamesy gonna keep trying, but Jackie, avalanche toss. Jamesy almost dies and does in the end. Jackie, he does still have the Aegis. They will try to take him out, but they just can't. This game is over. They call it GG. Motivate.Trust, a very convincing game number 1.
Yeah, and Cignal, they went back to the Slaughter PA combo. They had a pretty decent start in their lanes. It looked pretty okay. Jamesy found the early objectives fast. They're playing their cards right, but they make the same mistake we've seen every team to go up against MG.Trust do. They leave Jackie alone. You do not want to do that. You can see the effects here. He had a rough start in lane. You know, Jackie was not having a smooth farm up there, but he still gets where he needs to at the end. And we'll see if Cignal kind of fixes that for game 2. They need to just get some vision down. They should understand the farming pattern here of Jackie. The moment you lose your tier 1, that MG.Trust always go for, they will farm in that opposite jungle. So we'll see if Cignal Ultra can kind of counteract that playstyle. It is going to be our last game in this last series. Cignal would still like a win to boost that morale up.
That is a really nice GPM, by the way. 770 on the Morphling. Very nice indeed. I do like numbers like that. Still, it's MLP, Dota, and johnxfire. We'll be back in about 10 minutes for our second game between Cignal Ultra and Motivate.Trust. See you again soon.